This interview was never meant to be revealed. And yet, here it is, a testimony buried in the shadows of history, a confession whispered by Albert Einstein himself in the year 1954, a year before his death. They say these words were spoken in secret, recorded quietly by a journalist whose identity remains lost, and then silenced, locked away, classified. For decades, official science denied even the possibility that this conversation existed. To admit it would mean admitting that the greatest mind of modern science had dared to speak of things beyond matter, beyond physics, beyond death itself. But in the lost archives of Princeton University, something surfaced, a manuscript, hidden in the double bottom of a safe belonging to Kurt Gödel, Einstein's closest confidant. Gödel, the genius logician, the man who himself wrestled with infinity and the boundaries of reason. The manuscript began with words that chilled even the most hardened historian. These confessions may change humanity or destroy it. Why? Why would reflections on the afterlife be considered dangerous? What knowledge could Einstein have held that threatened the very balance of power? And more importantly, why was it hidden from us for so long? To begin answering these questions, we must travel back further, far beyond 1954, back into the myths and legends of humanity itself. For what Einstein whispered in his final years echoes truths that were spoken thousands of years before. Since the dawn of civilization, humankind has wondered, what lies beyond death? The Egyptians built tombs of stone and filled them with treasures, convinced that the soul would journey into another realm, weighed against a feather of truth. The Greeks spoke of Hades and the underworld, where souls crossed the river Styx guided by the ferryman Charon. The ancient Vedic texts of India spoke of the cycle of rebirth, samsara, the soul returning again and again, shaped by karma, until it merged with the infinite. Even the Sumerians, the world's first civilization, carved in stone their belief in heavenly beings, Anunnaki, guides of the soul, who watch humanity from the stars. Different cultures, different ages, different symbols. Yet the same question remained, does consciousness survive? And if so, what form does it take? Were these myths simply stories, or fragments of a deeper truth, glimpsed across the millennia, expressed in different languages, wrapped in different rituals? And now, across the gulf of time, we find Einstein, one of the greatest scientific minds, speaking words that sound eerily familiar, words that echo those ancient traditions. Could it be that science and myth were never truly separate? That what the ancients intuited in symbols, Einstein glimpsed in mathematics? Coincidence or continuity? The journalist, whose name history has erased, asked a question that has haunted all of humanity. Professor Einstein, do you believe life continues after death? There was silence, a long pause, then a faint smile. To believe, Einstein whispered, is not quite right. At my age, I prefer to know. The journalist leaned forward. But science, your science, has always denied the soul. Einstein shook his head slowly. Science, as understood by most, is limited to the observable. It ignores what cannot yet be measured. But what I am about to tell you must remain between us, at least until humanity is ready. Life does not end with death. This is not a hypothesis. It is fact. The journalist's hand trembled. But how? How can you be certain? Einstein replied, calm and unwavering. I discovered this not through physics alone, but by studying the mathematical structures of time and space. Imagine a wave upon the ocean. As long as the wind blows, it exists. When the wind ceases, the wave disappears. But its energy does not vanish. It remains in the water. Consciousness is that wave. The body is merely a temporary form. The journalist whispered, do you mean the soul? Heaven? Einstein shook his head gently. No, I speak of transformation. Consciousness does not vanish. It returns to the source. God is not an old man on a cloud. God is the ocean itself, the merging of all consciousness. That is why no one truly disappears. Death is not the end. It is a return home. Outside, the spring of 1954 was cold. The wind rattled the windows. Inside, a silence heavier than words filled the room. The journalist, struggling to comprehend, asked softly, "But how can a scientist say such things?" Einstein's gaze hardened. "You call this faith. I call it knowledge. My work on a unified field theory shows that matter, energy, and consciousness are connected. The atom is not the smallest building block. Beyond it lies emptiness, vibration, the hum of the vacuum, and beyond that lies connection." He leaned closer, his voice almost a whisper. The Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen paradox. Quantum entanglement. Two particles, once linked, remain connected, no matter the distance. If particles can connect across space, why not consciousness across death? The room grew colder. The journalist's pen shook. "Yes," Einstein continued, "consciousness is non-local. The brain is only an antenna. Death does not destroy it. It merely disconnects one channel. The ether remains, like radio waves that continue even when a receiver is switched off." The journalist swallowed hard. "Then why speak now?" Einstein sighed. "Because time is short. I am at the threshold. But understand, if this truth spreads too soon, it can be misused for power. That is why I remain silent. Science feared ridicule. Religion feared collapse. Politicians feared freedom. And so the words were buried." A shadow passed over Einstein's face. The 1950s are not an age of openness. The United States hides programs you cannot imagine, experiments with consciousness, with the mind, with the invisible. They fear what they cannot control. And so they bury it under top-secret stamps. Was this exaggeration? Or were the old physicists hinting at secret projects like MKUltra, Stargate, hidden long from public eyes? One must wonder, was Einstein's silenced not only by ridicule, but by force? Was this interview banned because it revealed a truth too powerful for governments to allow? Midnight struck. The room felt frozen in time. Einstein's voice grew soft again. "Death is not a wall, it is a door. We are all travelers. Those who lived selfishly remain bound to shadows. Those who sought truth and love ascend, merge with the source, and begin anew. Rebirth is not automatic. It is choice. Free will is the highest law." He turned his gaze to the night sky. "We are all part of one consciousness. Fear of death is fear of losing, but there is nothing to lose. Love, deeds, memories, they move forward, always." The journalist whispered, "Then why do other great minds remain silent?" Einstein smiled sadly. "Truth is simple, yet dangerous. Scientists fear ridicule. Religion fears losing control. Politicians fear freedom. Newton, Planck, Tesla, Darwin, they all sense something greater, but they remain silent. I, too, was silent. Until now." He leaned forward. "Protect the light. The world is not ready, but it will be." And with that, the first bird sang of dawn. The night was over. But for the journalist, and for us who now hear these forbidden words, something had changed forever. The day began as usual. And yet, within, a seed had been planted. A seed that whispers, "Death is not the end. It is only the beginning."